look forward to an afterlife. I don't deny that there might. I'm assuming that this energy that I live in, this libido that exists in me, is released into the universe and continues life. I mean, energy doesn't disappear. And my experience working with dying people over the years in the hospital is that there is energy that leaves. I've seen it. I've witnessed it. It's not just, there is then just a corpse, but the life force moves. I've seen it move out of bodies. I mean, there's energy. It goes somewhere. So my feeling is I have no idea.
I don't use afterlife. That's not part of my concept, but I do believe in a conservation.
What does that mean, conservation?
I think that matter is conserved, energy is conserved. Folks who I have loved who have died, their influence stays with me. I hear their words, I see their work, I see the influence that they've had on so many people, so I realize that it continues.
In memory, you mean?
Or more than in memory, it's real. I mean, I think of, writers, people like, Toni Cade Bambara. I mean, her words, the way she animated communities as a cultural worker, that stays with me.
Isn't there a difference between memory that goes on and existence in another?
It's the energy. Our lives have been changed as a result of people that have gone through it. And to me, that's the continuity.
Fred's a physician and a scientist. What are your views on this?
Well, I mean, I think if you don't believe in an afterlife, then you have two ways of facing it. One is it's extinction, no big deal. You regret it, You may fear the process, certainly, of having to endure the pain and leaving your family and your loved ones. Or, you may have that lurking fear that maybe Lewis's worldview is correct and that you might end up in Dante's seventh circle, that's a cause for fear independent of other things.
Yeah, no, we haven't spoken much about hell here, which I think is actually, an obstacle to faith for some people. And that is, if God is all good and all powerful, forget the fact that just bad things happen to good people, but what about people like Michael and me who've been struggling with these questions? It would seem kind of unfair if we had to suffer for eternity because we didn't believe after doing the best we could, living according to our lights. I find that a very troubling concept. Now, not all religions believe that, and people try to soft sell it and say, well, hell just means absence from God. It doesn't mean suffering. There's been a lot of stuff that's gone down in history about you're going to be burning and suffering for eternity unless you believe. So I find that troubling. I don't know if people here believe in hell. You do.
I find it terribly troubling. And
you believe in it.
Well, I don't know that there's not enough description in the scriptures to know whether there are 9 circles and that they're ordered in a certain way. I know the New Testament scripture says there's gnashing of teeth. Sounds pretty bad, but he says that
it's fire and burning.
Right. He says Lewis says, well, it just means separation from God, and that's during your life. That's what you've tried to do. You've tried to turn away from God, not pay attention to him, and so in your afterlife, that's what you're going to get, and that's all there is, and that's really bad because who wants to be separated for eternity from their Creator?
Lewis makes the interesting description of life as being made up of decisions, and that every decision we make either draws us closer to the Creator or further away from him, and that we, in one sense, determine the direction where we end up in by how we make these decisions, how we live our life. Is it possible that Freud and Lewis represent conflicting parts of ourselves? A part of us that yearns for a relationship with the source of all joy, hope, and happiness, as described by Lewis? And another part that raises its fist in defiance and says, with Freud, I will not surrender. Whatever part we choose to express will determine our purpose, our identity, and our whole philosophy of life.
What are your views on love, morality, and suffering? Exchange views with others in our discussion forums and explore these subjects in greater depth with artists, scientists, writers, and thinkers at pbs.org.
A presentation of WGBH, Boston.
Funding for this program was provided by Lawrence Rockefeller, the John Templeton Foundation, the Arthur Vining Davis Foundation, the Paul Montrone Foundation, Tom and Gert Phillips, the Service Master Company. Funding is also provided by these funders: this program was also made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by contributions to your PBS station by viewers like you. Thank you.